It's time to put your health in your own hands. Get ready to learn from today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm excited to introduce you to today's guest, Maureen Vincenty. She is a transformative health coach, and she's an expert in transforming the bodies and lives of her clients. Formerly a NASA and EPA scientist, her obsession with research turned to health after losing her mother to cancer unexpectedly. She has spent the past 17 years researching optimal health, fitness, and preventative well-being. Her passion is to help entrepreneurs and leaders to transform their bodies and up-level their lives so they have energy, vitality, and confidence to make a greater impact in the world. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're really an interesting person. Just reading your bio, I immediately say, tell me more about the fact that you worked at NASA and the EPA, and what attracted you to that type of work, and how did you end up here?
Yeah, so to me, it's all kind of the same thing. I'm a scientist, researcher, obsessive, knowledge. It's like I can never acquire enough knowledge about something, always wanting to know how something works. So I remember being 8 years old and, just almost like having panic attacks about not being able to understand where space got all the space to keep on expanding. I had those little glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, and I had a telescope and taught me, I think I knew the planets and their orbit before I knew probably primary colors. And so I just remember thinking that as a little girl and just always loving science, always loving math. I went to UCLA, and originally I also really love helping people. Originally I wanted to be a doctor, traditional MD. And so my freshman year, at the end of my freshman year, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, and she had the genetic testing done and it came back negative. So at that point I got very obsessed with environmental cause of disease, nutritional therapy, preventive medicine. I had internships at hospitals and in private practices, and I kind of quickly realized the way traditional Western medicine is set up, it's not really set up to address any sort of preventive or root cause, especially at that time. This was in 2002. I don't have a headache because I'm deficient in aspirin. It may take the pain away, but it's not really dealing with the issue. So I thought, I don't know if this whole MD thing is for me. I don't want to just be seeing people and then giving them medication. I want to help it beforehand. But UCLA didn't really have any sort of nutrition program. And also traditional nutrition that's taught in school, which is still taught, is not in alignment with what I think is working, which is why everyone is still so fat and sick. So I just thought, okay, this isn't for me. And I just kept jumping sciences. I was an astrophysics major. I was all sorts of things. I switched my major 7 times at UCLA. It was always a science. Ended up graduating with a degree in geology by default because they kicked me out for exceeding my max units by about 80. They wouldn't let me switch anymore. So I loved studying the theoretical stuff about geology and space geology, but I didn't really think about the practical application in terms of job. So I thought, who knows, I'd be in, Hawaii in a bikini collecting lava samples, not at a hazardous waste refinery, collecting contaminated soil and groundwater all day with toothless drillers, 60 hours a week for $50,000 a year, which is what I did for 10 years during the day. And I was just the obsessive researcher with health and wellness. And my mom passed, and then I ended up getting my own health issues in my 20s, various autoimmune disease diagnoses, and just hitting Western medical dead ends again, and just really had to learn how to heal my body. And I just love it. My idea of a good time Friday night is researching like weight loss and autoimmune issues and stuff. So I was just the free advice giver to friends, family, and coworkers for so long because I didn't really know how to turn it into a business. Like, I am the science brain. I can fix anyone when they're in front of me, but it did not do anything for me to learn how to be an entrepreneur or market or sales or all that stuff. So it took me until I was 33 3 to have the kind of courage and just finally take the leap of faith to leave my corporate job with EPA, NASA, and history of geology, and just really throw myself into the fire as an entrepreneur and grow my company to really help people transform their bodies from the inside out. So that is my story in a nutshell.
It's interesting how you talk about, you have this passion about research and how every little thing you research it, and it's interesting how you saw your mother who died from ovarian cancer, and how you had to look at that to say, well, it is not genetic, so what is it? And then later for you to deal with your own health issues, again saying, okay, it's not genetic, what is it? And then to drill down. So today, when you work with people, what are you working with them? What have you found is most people's problem when it comes to health issues?
Yeah, so most people, they want to do something about their health, but they're overwhelmed. They're super confused because for everything you can Google the exact opposite 2 minutes later. So I think the ability we have to have knowledge right at our fingertips is such a blessing, but it can also be a curse as well, because it can cause people to have analysis paralysis. They don't know who to trust. They don't know who to follow. And if they follow their, doctor or even a registered dietitian, they're still operating on over very outdated information. Like the USDA food pyramid, it's not working. 6 to 11 servings of whole grains a day, lots of fruits and vegetables, low fat, it's not working. We've never been fatter or sicker. So I think people get defeated. They feel like they're trying. They feel like in order to lose weight, they have to be starving all the time and miserable. Maybe they don't have the support system, lack of knowing what to do and how to do it, and working it in with the context of their lifestyle so that it's maintainable. So what I do is I really re-educate people on nutrition and lifestyle that really the human body thrives off of. It's a lot of re-education. I always tell people when they start working with me, everything you think you know about nutrition, I'm literally going to teach you the opposite. And so I said, I just need you to buckle up and trust me. This is 17 years of me being on the cutting edge of research and knowing what's working, and having used my own body as a petri dish and a science experiment for almost 2 decades. Like, I figured it out, so it's not what people expect.
Well, I remember growing up in the 70s, and one of the things that was so different then is just portion sizes. For example, at school, they actually had a machine that had apples and oranges in it, and the soda pop machine only would give 8 ounces of pop, and it had crushed ice in it. And then of course, over time, we've supersized everything. And like you're right about the food pyramid, I know that if I eat like that, eat a lot of grains and carbs and everything, I get just bigger and bigger and bigger, and feel sluggish and everything. So when you're re-educating people, what would you say is the most startling thing that you tell people that they go like, oh my God, I never knew that?
There's so many. 1, fruit is not your friend.
So fruit is not your friend?
Fruit is not your friend.
Even so, the apple a day is a myth?
1 apple has 40 grams of sugar, almost as much as a candy bar.
Okay. So yeah, see, I didn't know that.
It's natural, right? It's okay. Well, arsenic's also natural, So it's really, what I teach people is, it's not from a fat loss perspective, right? We can go into other chronic health issues, but from a pure fat loss perspective, it's not about calories in versus calories out. Your body is not a calculator. It doesn't work that way. It's a system of hormones and hormonal reactions. So it's all about the hormonal effect of the food that we eat, not eat less, move more. That might work short term, but how many people have dieted or done a calorie restricted diet only to gain it all back and then some?
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
And when you say it's interesting, because you're absolutely right. I don't think I've ever had anyone say to me that it's a hormonal issue, not calories in, calories out. Even when I've studied things like, the keto diet, or
Keto's amazing, by the way.
all of those things, but no one's ever talking about how food affects your body or your hormones. And that's one of the things. I mean, I do know that if I do a keto, or let's just say not even keto, but a higher protein, lower carbs, I do know that my weight will go down.
And here's why. So a lot of people, again, just probably a lot of your listeners hear hormones, they think estrogen, testosterone.
Right.
They don't think thyroid. They don't think insulin. They don't think leptin. They don't think ghrelin. They don't think glucagon. There's so many different types of hormones in the body, not just sex hormones.
Right.
Insulin is a hormone, and insulin is the fat storing hormone. And when you have high levels of insulin in your body just shuttles all the excess sugar into the fat cells for later use. So what raises insulin? Sugar. What creates sugar in the body? Carbohydrates, even the healthy whole grains that people, healthy, I say in air quotes, whole grains and the carbs. So that's why when people go on a lower carbohydrate diet, they tend to very quickly lose weight almost effortlessly, and appetite's better because they're no longer spiking the insulin that their former diet spiked. I actually eat 3 times the amount of calories now than I did when I was vegan 10 years ago, and I thought that was going to heal my body, and I exercise less, and I'm about 30 to 40 pounds lighter. So it's really, again, it's about the hormonal effect of food and not really calories in, calories out. Now, that doesn't mean that calories don't matter at the end of the day, and you can't, you still get to listen to your body. If you're overeating, even on a keto diet or low carb, and you're just going crazy, it's probably not a good idea for your body, but it is really important. And not, even if, this is another mistake I see a lot of people make, is they think they're healthy because they're lean. So they think they can get away with eating whatever they want, maybe because their body doesn't have a genetic predisposition to store excess fat. But that could be the same person that's diagnosed with pancreatic cancer out of nowhere at 40. So you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. I always tell my clients that are overweight that it's actually a blessing, because their body's effectively communicating with them that something's wrong. Because the body only has 2 ways of telling you kind of from the outside that something's out of whack: skin issues or excess body weight. So a lot of times all these other people think that they're, healthy because they're just genetically lean, but they might be getting dementia. They might be getting Alzheimer's. It might be too late before their body gives them a clear signal that, hey, something's off. So if you can change your lifestyle from a nutrition and, stress management standpoint before waiting for anything to happen, because a lot of people don't realize all that stuff's controlled by food. 90% of what everyone is dealing with now, chronic issues, hormonal issues, infertility, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, ADD, ADHD, I mean, the list goes on, is lifestyle induced. So the solution's lifestyle, not medication. It's amazing when people start to lose weight. They hire me because they want to lose 20 pounds. And then a nice side effect or a bonus, I would say 30 to 60 days in, is all of a sudden their migraines are gone, their arthritis is gone, their gout's gone, they don't get kidney stones anymore, because it's all connected.
And the pain, the pain level goes down. That's one of the things that I notice is the aches and pains. And I notice if I do eat, for example, a bowl of cereal, I had here's a good example of how I knew that I ate something bad. I had a bowl of grape nuts with milk, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I had severe foot cramps. Like my toe was like bending, I don't even know, but felt like it was being bent backwards. And normally how you have a cramp and it'll go away fairly quickly. This cramp would not go away. It was like my toe was in a cramp for like hours, and nothing I did would make it go away. And then the next day, I did it again. I ate some more, and I had the same reaction. And I hadn't had grape nuts or milk like probably for 10 years. So, I was able to say, oh, it had to have been, eating a big bowl of, basically wheat, I guess, and milk, and then having that reaction of the foot cramp, because I don't normally get foot cramps. And it is amazing how your body will tell you things if you will stop and listen. So I have a question. You actually, on your website, you have a workbook called it's free, but it's the Fat Loss Workbook ebook. What is in this book
so there's a little quiz in the beginning. It's like, let's see what you know about being healthy, kind of myth busting all those things. Like, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. You should not be eating every 2 or 3 hours to keep your metabolic fire going. Like, that is a myth. That's probably the worst thing anyone can do if trying to lose weight, because you're just spiking insulin all day. Just kind of do you think you should be eating low fat and diet foods? So that's kind of fun, just to give people like a good understanding of where they are. And then, hey, this isn't your fault, right? It's because we've been taught the wrong things. Here are some great truths about nutrition. And then I go into 3 of my best tips to get people started on permanent fat loss, with things they can start implementing right away, mindset, and, an opportunity also to book a fat loss strategy call with me if they just need a little bit of help to get started in the right direction. So it's a pretty fun workbook. A lot of people really like it.
It sounds fun, and I think I may have already registered for it, because I was doing my research and I was registering. But so, what would you say for most people, when you work with them, how, like, let's say you need to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, what is realistic? Because we watch TV, okay, and it's okay, I realize it's entertainment, but for example, I've watched that show, My 600-Pound Life, and I always watch it to see what are, most of these people have deep psychological problems when they're 600 pounds. And that's part of the issue, is when they start to get that mental health aspect taken care of. And you mentioned mindset. How important is mindset in a permanent weight loss journey, or I don't even know if that's even a proper terminology, but how we watch TV and they've had all of these shows, Biggest Loser, and these people are like, I don't even know how, they're doing all this exercise for like 8 hours a day, and they're limiting their calories, and then they're, trying to win $1 million or something. And we, as
and most of them, by the way, gain it all back. Did you know that? The Biggest Loser?
No, I just noticed that on that 600-pound life, one of the things it says on it says less than 5% of these people lose the weight and maintain it, of those people. And then a lot of those big people die because their bodies literally, give out because they can't take it anymore. But as a real person, let's say that you're, 50 pounds to 100 pounds overweight, because that would mean, like, for a woman, if your normal is 150, that would mean that you're at 250, and so how much time is realistic, and in any journey, what should you be doing in terms of food and exercise, and how important is exercise to this whole thing
Food
as
is
it
90%.
relates to main mindset?
Food is 90%. If you're going to throw, if we're just talking about food and exercise, you can't outwork a bad diet, period. Exercise is like icing on the cake, but 90% of it is what you put into your body.
Wow. That right there is a piece of information I didn't know. And
90%.
I'm one of those people, like I was overweight as a teenager. So I maintained 170 pounds from age 12 to 17. And then when I left home, I lost weight. It was like, it was really kind of interesting. And then I maintained, about 130 pounds until I was in my 30s. So obviously something was going on, when I was a teenager, that I just maintained that. But what I think is so interesting is all those people who were the little skinny cheerleaders back then, who were the little, people used to call me names. I think 95% of all of those people are now obese.
Well, because they were skinny, because they just were young, like they were getting away with it. They weren't thin because they had a healthy lifestyle. And so that's what happens to a lot of people. They're getting away with it because they're young, their metabolisms are a certain way, their body hasn't broken down yet, basically. And then all of a sudden their lifestyle and nutritional choices catch up with them.
Yeah, all those
things. A lot of that, and they never really learned how to care for their body. For some women, they're relatively lean all the way to menopause. And then menopause gets them, and they never really learned how to eat healthy in a way that their body is balanced and all that stuff. But yeah, for people that are really heavy, there's always, and look, don't want to say heavy. I've suffered from every eating disorder under the sun, and I've fluctuated weight, even though I knew what to be doing. It didn't handle the psychological component that probably started when my mom passed, and with me being raised in the home I was raised in, and just whatever set me up for that. Addiction runs in my family, and food became my way of kind of being addicted and coping, I guess. So, I used to be 50 pounds heavier than I am now, and struggled with all the yo-yoing in between. So what really healed me from all of that, it's the knowledge doesn't equal behavior change. I can teach someone exactly what they should be doing, but based on their history and their own internal story, that doesn't mean they're actually going to do it. That's where mindset comes in. That's where self-love comes in. That's where, setting up accountability and structure. That's why having a coaching relationship, whether it's with me or someone else, can be so beneficial, because it pulls all those things together. It's, hey, I'm going to teach you what to do. I'm going to empower you to know this knowledge for the rest of your life, so that it's not a quick fix thing. It's permanent, and you're going to fall in love with the journey and not the final destination. And until these new things become permanent behavior changes, you have me or someone else you're working with to hold you accountable, to believe in you when you can't believe in yourself yet, to support you. Like, it's just the whole system. So at the end of it, let's say 90-day period of time, which is the length of time I usually work with people, they've lost weight, even though they might not be at their final weight goal. If they maintain the trajectory we started together, they'll eventually get there when their body's comfortable releasing that weight in a balanced way. But they're already on track. They're feeling better. They're looking better. They have all the knowledge to set them up for success. And the lifestyle is now their way of living, because it's been long enough. It's permanent behavior change.
I think it's so interesting, because so many people attempt to do the weight loss journey either alone or, with different methods, where they're talking about exactly what you said earlier, using the old food pyramid that if you actually have done any research, that isn't the way that we should be eating. So if somebody wants to work with you, what would you say would be the best way to connect?
Yeah, there is an opportunity. If they go to my website, there's opportunities to book strategy sessions with me, buttons all over there. So they just get direct access to my calendar, and they can click on that and book like a 20-minute sort of strategy session with me where we can just get to know a little bit more about each other. I can explain how my programs work. I can hear what their goals and needs are, and then we can see if working together makes sense, or if there's another direction or resources I can point them that might be more supportive for whatever their goals are. So all of my strategy sessions are free. And so it's just an opportunity to see if working together makes sense.
Well, that sounds good to me. And then, of course, the free fat loss workbook ebook, I really like that because that gives you the opportunity to, like you said, take a little quiz, find out kind of where you're at. Like, even though I personally studied a lot about dieting and weight loss, I learned some things. You told me some things today that I didn't know. And I really kind of been going, oh my God, after all that, I'm still thinking calories in, calories out. And you're saying, no, it's all about the hormones. And then we need to stop and go, okay, well, what does, let's take a look at hormones. And then again, we hear all of these things, and we're so indoctrinated with television. And it's really sad how many people, for example, have diabetes or Alzheimer's, and they're not equating that to being something that they could work on with food.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is now referred to as type 3 diabetes.
I know, and that's
all from carbohydrates, which is really
scary.
Really important for me to have learned, because both my grandparents on my dad's side passed from Alzheimer's. So it was amazing to know that, for myself, my sister, my dad, and my aunt, even though we have this genetic predisposition, if we follow a lower carbohydrate, like paleo diet, it doesn't have to be our destiny. So genes are just a starting place. They're like a loaded gun, but it's the environment that pulls the trigger. So you can be born with a loaded gun, but if you never pull the trigger, the gun's not going to go off. And so same thing with diabetes. I've had 4 clients this year already that came to me with type 2 diabetes, completely reversed within 60 days.
Wow.
After being on insulin and metformin and things for 2 decades. So I think really in 10 years, Western medicine and nutrition will have caught up with kind of the leading edge of functional nutrition. But yeah, it's totally about the hormone. There's a great documentary actually that everyone can watch. I think you'd really like it too, Tammy. It's called That Sugar Film. It's on Prime Video. Okay. And it actually documents, it's the first documentary that actually shows, he goes to this experiment. He follows kind of the diet that I follow now. But then he says, I wonder what's going to happen to me for 6 weeks if I go on a higher carbohydrate diet, but not from junk food, from grains and from fruit and smoothies and things like that. And then he gets doctors to follow him. They do his blood work, measurements, his mood changes, behavior. He gains 15 pounds. He gets non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the best part, he's eating the same number of calories both before and after. And then he goes back to his normal way of eating. And with 6 weeks, his body is back to the way it was before. And they document, and it's really funny. Hugh Jackman makes a cameo in it. The guy's Australian. It's really well done, but I make everyone watch it the first week that I work with them, and people love it. So I highly recommend it. I think it'll give everyone more of an understanding into exactly what it is I help people do and learn.
What's the title of that?
It's called That Sugar Film.
That Sugar Film, and it's on Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Okay, That Sugar Film. Just hearing about it, I'm going, I need to watch it just because I can tell when I'm off and if I'm overdoing carbs and sugar and all that, I can really tell, and like my brain fog and just how I am in my body. And I also, I have a massage therapist I go through, and she'll tell me, she can tell me by how much water I'm retaining and my body the way it feels on,
Totally.
you can actually tell.
Not even the more extreme side. People get so confused when they find out what I do for a living after seeing how I eat. 95% of my diet is red meat. I'm actually like more carnivore side now. I eat less than 5 or 10 grams of carbs a day. So I'm like no grains, no sugar, no dairy, no processed food, no junk. Most of my food is fatty cuts of red meat, like New York strips or ribeye, a lot of grass-fed meats, organic free-range eggs, and all of my symptoms are gone from my autoimmune diseases. I'm the leanest and most brain-focused and sleep best, and so that's like an extreme side. Not everyone needs to do that to be optimally healthy, but it totally goes against. It's like the exact opposite of what someone thinks a healthy diet, right, should be.
Yeah, because they say don't eat red meat, don't eat this,
don't eat fat, don't eat saturated fat,
or whole grain, and this, that, and the other thing. And you're right, because not every, like you mentioned that you had been vegan before, and I kind of laugh at these commercials, where they're making the vegetable hamburger taste like beef.
Oh, the Beyond Meats.
Yeah, the Beyond. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you're somebody who doesn't want to eat meat, why do you want your vegetable protein to taste like beef? It doesn't make sense to me. It's that not logical thing, because if you're anti-beef, then why are you trying to make your vegetable protein taste like beef? It's just odd to me. And there's so many interesting things that we as humans do. Wow, I'm still learning from you. So it's MaureenVincenti.com.
Vincenty. There's an N between the I and the C. So it's
okay.
Yeah, VINCENTY.com.
Okay. And of course, in my show notes, it'll be a live link so people can click on it.
I know my name is spelled so weird. It's a problem.
Well, it's interesting because when I was growing up, one of my friends, their last name was Vincent. So all you do is you put the Y on there.
That's why I always say it's Vincent with the Y. Yeah, it's actually it's from Puerto Rico. My dad's full family is from Puerto Rico.
It's a cool name, and you've got such a cool background. I always think it's really fascinating when I meet people who have such a deep scientific background, and then they come around to something that's, even though it's scientific, it's sometimes people are like, oh, it's going, like you said, it's going against the traditional grain of how we've all been taught about how we're supposed to eat. But the reality is, look at people, with the Alzheimer's, the dementia, the obesity, all of the illnesses that we're carrying, that even in the 70s we didn't have. There's like I said, the obesity, just people in general. If you were to look at people, yes, there were obese people, but not like it is today, where you can look at a group of people and there's a lot of people who are overweight. And
because we're also eating all the time now. The average American puts something into their mouth 21 times a day.
Wow.
You know how often I eat? Twice.
I've done research, and it is interesting. What you mentioned earlier about triggering the hunger. And I know that when I eat breakfast, like I used to eat a bowl of cereal, I would be hungry. Let's say I ate at 8. Well, by 10 o'clock, I was really hungry.
Especially because it was cereal you ate, not fat and protein, because you're in your blood sugar.
And so I can see how, all of those things, and even though I was watching the calories, because, special K, so you eat special K with a little, and so you're watching that, and then you're starving, and then you eat again, and then you eat something else that is supposed to be low in calories, and it's just a vicious cycle, and you're just making yourself more hungry.
You're on the blood sugar roller coaster all day long, of eating every 2 or 3 hours, or you get hangry.
Yeah, I've had that.
You're at war with that would be another myth I would say is breakfast is not the most important meal of the day.
Yeah.
So food is not your friend. Breakfast is not the most important meal of your day. And the absolute worst thing on the planet anyone can do that's serious about fat loss is to be eating mini meals every 2 or 3 hours.
And all of those have been things that, if I think back over the years, have been things that people have told you to do if you wanted to lose weight. Eat every 2 hours, eat fruit, eat, all of these different things. So everybody, you have to go check out Maureen's website and get that free book and sign up for her free body transformation breakthrough session, because I'm sure in 15 or 20 minutes, you could really help somebody to figure out, where are they in this journey and how you might be able to help them. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to let everyone know that most people are only 30 days away from completely transforming their health and their bodies, but they never give themselves a chance to figure it out. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a really positive message, Maureen. 30 days away from changing your health for the better. So yeah. I'll leave it with that. Everyone, this is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. To get more solid health and wellness information, visit optimalhealthradio.com